Man, I'm wearing sweats and a hoodie, and that's how I dress. I'm, this is the nicest I ever look in church, except for funerals and weddings, or any day that I might be called the defendant later in the afternoon. Other than that, this is as good as it gets. You were talking about God putting color in things, because it reminded me of something. A friend of mine, his little girl, said to him one time, a black and white movie was on TV, and she said, well, I'm sure glad they invented color. I wouldn't have wanted to live back then. And so he asked her what she was talking about, and she thought someone invented color. Like the world, like everything was black and white, and we invented color. Kids always think funny things. When I heard my grandma talking when I was young, she said varicose veins. And I thought she said very close veins. And I thought, well, that makes sense. It's very close to the skin and you can see it. So very close. It must be called very close. But that's not as dumb as my neighbor, whose grandpa told him when on the freeway they saw a semi full of sod, you know, those squares of the grass on pallets. And he asked his grandpa what that was, and his grandpa told him that rich people send their grass out to have it mowed. And he believed it. Men and women insult each other differently. Men are more direct. They say things like, hey, Walter, did you get dressed out of the hamper before you came to church today? Women are more subtle. They say things like, oh, you look great. I used to make my own clothes too. I love those shoes. Do they come in small sizes? A pastor, a guy named John, goes golfing with his neighbor, Mike. And Mike's an atheist, and John's a pastor, and they're out on the golf course all day long. And finally, Mike says, you know, John, I just want to tell you that I respect what you do. I mean, I don't believe in any of that stuff, but I respect what you do. And the pastor said, well, listen, anyone who looks into something and learns everything there is to know about it and then decides not to believe it, I can certainly respect that. And Mike said, I never said I knew everything about it. I just said I don't believe in all that Jesus stuff. And the pastor said, well, wait a minute. So you're telling me you've never read the Bible, but you don't believe it? And Mike said, well, yeah, that's right. So John says, Mike, you're not an atheist. And Mike says, I'm not? And he goes, no. You're what we call a moron. I asked my wife the other day, hey, baby, when I'm old and wrinkly and fat and I look like a frog in blue jeans, will you still love me? And she said, yes, I do. What? I do. You can't make this stuff up. For some reason, the Pilgrims brought a giant screw with them. One screw, I don't know, but they had a big screw. They were able to use the screw to fix the part of the ship that was cracking and breaking. So it saved them. Every time I think about this, I think about these English people taking a trip, and I think anyone here married and has ever gone on a vacation, these conversations that happen when you're packing the car up and getting ready to leave, and I can see the couple and the wife going, what are you taking that big screw for? It might come in handy. We might use it for something. What? A big screw? Well, you're taking your sister? What do you mean? She requires sustenance. The screw doesn't need anything at all. It won't hurt. Fine, bring it along. Just get on the boat. Captain yelling down, prepare to meet your God. I got a screw. I told you. People think love at first sight. Love at first sight is amazing. It's not amazing. You know what's amazing? Love after a long, hard look. That's what's amazing. I heard a story once of a husband that did that, and he said, the Bible says the wife should submit to the husband. She said, I did. I just submitted my opinion, and I recommend that if you're a loving husband, you take it. Anybody ever get soap or pepper put in your mouth for saying bad words when you were little? Oh, come on, I know somebody did. You never, you're in church and you're lying. So, I got pepper in my mouth once as a kid for heathen. I didn't even say it. I didn't even say it. I was doing what most 8-year-olds do, and my mom said, "Hey, quit acting like a little heathen." And without even thinking, I don't know why I said this. It was like I was on recess. All I said, "Takes one to know one." And then you ever said something, as soon as you said it, you go, "Ow!" And then I heard the footsteps coming in from the kitchen. I got pepper for that. I spent the next 20 minutes in the bathroom with my mouth under the faucet. I didn't eat pepper again until I met my wife, like a long time. Don't talk back to your parents. That's why spouses, like guys, don't like to hear it when their wives talk bad about themselves. So you should never talk bad about yourself. Sometimes, wives can say something like, "Oh, I've gained some weight," or "I've got this wrinkles," and I don't look as pretty as I used to look," or things like that. And guys think, "No, you're beautiful." I mean, I tell my wife, "You're stunning. You're beautiful. She's amazing." And almost all men I know feel that way about their wives. I mean, you can't really, I don't know why they say that stuff. How are you supposed to respond? "Oh, honey, I know you hit the wall 10 years ago, but don't worry, you're working on it. They make makeup for that stuff. Hang in there, you'll do fine." Of course not. I never understood why hunting is called a sport. Because if it's I grew up in the woods and I hunted, but if it's a sport, your opponent's not aware of the fact that he's playing. And so I never understood why you would call hunting a sport. I mean, it's hunting, but it's not a sport. Bowling's not a sport either. If you can smoke and eat pizza while you're doing something, it shouldn't be allowed to be called a sport. That is a game. That is not a sport. We get so accustomed to lying that we have lies that we call acceptable. Little white lies. If I get out of the shower and I'm in my boxers and a tank top and I'm shaving at the sink, I say to my wife, "Hey, our dryer is messed up because this shirt is way tighter than it was last month. And it makes me look like an ape. Do I look like an ape in this shirt?" I know she's not going to go the full honest route and say, no. You know what makes you look like an ape? Vision. The ability to see. That's what makes you look like an ape. It kind of feels like that, bless your heart, people say in the South, because it's a nice way of calling you stupid. Tommy's been pulling that cat's tail all day long and it scratched his forehead. He's got 4 stripes. Bless his heart, bless his heart. They don't mean bless his heart. They mean Tommy's a hellion and he had it coming.